So now we gotta go back to the brain. So we did epithalamus, we took this detour. We're not done with the brain yet. We're almost done with the brain. Okay. Let's go back to our brain. So we learned about the choroid plexi, we learned about the diencephalon. We're almost done. We have one more brain part to do. So we've done brainstem, mesencephalon, cerebellum, diencephalon, this part. What is that part up there?
Cerebrum.
Cerebrum. Very good. Put it over here. Number, is it 5?
Yes.
Yeah. Number 5 is the cerebrum. Not the cerebellum, the cerebrum. All right, so cerebrum is the topmost part, the most complex part. It is the thinking part. All right, so that's the top thing you associate with the brain. It's so big, we're going to break it down further. So we're going to break it into 4 regions. You learned these last term because you learned the skull bones, didn't you? Liars. All right?
Oh.
So you thought you didn't have to memorize this stuff, right? So let's look at this stuff. Here's a cerebrum, color-coded with different colors. And we're going to focus on this word here, the lobes. Those are the regions of the cerebrum. So hence, a frontal lobe is part of the cerebrum. Can anyone guess another lobe for me? Parietal lobe. Occipital lobe. Name the last one. Temporal lobe. Remember those bones you learned? That's why. So the lobes of the brain correspond to the bones of the skull. Right? Each lobe has a job. So we're going to start with the occipital lobe. It's the easiest one to learn. It's in the back of the brain, here. Read this and tell me what you think the job is.
Vision.
Vision. The occipital lobe is your visual cortex. By vision, what do I mean? Sight, seeing, physically seeing an image, right? So that's what's surprising. What do I mean by visual recognition? What does that mean? Interpreting. Are the lights on or off? Is it bright or dim? Is that a square or a circle? So anything dealing with just the process of making an image. In the back of my brain. Your mom said your eyes were in the back of her head, right? She's right. In terms of the brain. So the back of the brain is the visual cortex. Let's do temporal next. Temporal's on the side. Read that blurb and tell me what your temporal lobe is for. Look here.
Auditory.
Auditory means?
Hearing.
Hearing. Can you hear the words coming out of my mouth? That's here. Making sounds. Hearing sounds. So can you tell me what auditory patterns mean?
Hearing words.
Music, like knowing different beats of music. The cadence of your syllables, syllable versus syllable. Hearing those differences in speaking. Right? What am I hearing? Is it a buzz or a loud or soft? So hearing sounds, literally making sounds, hearing them make sense to you. What else do you see in the temporal lobe besides hearing? Memory. We'll talk about next week. We do deep brain structures. Your memories are on the side of your head. So occipital's vision, temporal's hearing, and some memory stuff. We're now going to do upper brain, higher up. Let's do the back upper. Parietal lobe, this yellowy land. Read that big thing and tell me what it does.
Sensory. Touch.
Yes. So Saladin will hit you with this big word. He'll say it's the somatosensory cortex. Let's break that down. What does sense mean? You sense things, you what? Say feel. Okay, that means feeling. Not feeling ha-ha, but feeling touchy-feely. Somatic, you learned last term. Soma means body. So you're feeling your body. A tickle, a punch, right? I'm rubbing smooth, rough. That's somatosensory. I'm feeling my skin. I'm feeling my body, right? That's the parietal lobe does a body feeling. What else does it do? Look up there and find one more thing it does for you. Understanding speech. Okay, that's different than hearing. Hearing is I'm hearing sound, but knowing what you mean when you say something is different. That's understanding. So this one just picks up the cadence. This tells me what you mean. Right? You know that. Good job is different than good job, right? Your ear hears a pitch, and your brain has to figure out what that means. So I feel my body and understand speech. Frontal lobe. Let's look at our frontal lobe, this big red one in the front. Let's read that and figure out what it's for. I don't know what that even means. Okay. Read that and tell me what that means. Control of what? Motor control. Motor. Voluntary motor skills. Give me an example of voluntary motoring you're doing right now. Writing notes. You're choosing to write. You have to tell your muscles how to write. That's a voluntary motor skill. That's a frontal lobe decision. Your frontal lobe makes you move. What else does your frontal lobe do? Look right here.
Speech.
Speech. What part of speech?
The act of speaking.
Very good. We call that motor speech. Motor mouth, literally. Moving my mouth, moving my tongue, because I'm moving them. Right? I can choose to cuss at you or not. That's motor speaking. Right? What else is it doing? Look about here. What's it doing? Hopefully thinking, which is what you're doing now. Right? We'll cover more of that next week. So my frontal lobe does motor skills, motor speaking, motor moving. Frontal lobe does somatosensory feeling, understanding, vision, hearing, and memory. So it's the basic jobs of your cerebrum, the lobes. Make sense? Okay. So if you understand those basic parts, I'm going to show you a picture. It's going to bother you. If you have mental illness, you don't want to look at this picture. Right? There are people inside your brain. There they are right there. Okay, this is not anatomically correct, right? Okay, on the left of the screen, the red colors. That is a motor area. Tell me what lobe this is if it's motoring. Frontal lobe. The blue says somatosensory. This must be what? Parietal lobe. So we're taking a slice through your brain. It's up here in the upper left. You see we're just slicing down between the frontal and parietal. So the motor side, frontal on the left. The feeling side, parietal on the right. This is showing you this bizarre picture. It's trying to represent a concept. Each area of the brain is dedicated to a body part. They call it a brain map. So, if I want to move my fingers, this part of my brain moves my fingers. That's where the instructions for moving fingers live. Now you know how to build a computer, right? Each part of the chip has a different job. They got the idea here. So each part of the brain is devoted to a job for a body part. Right? So, let's look on this side. I'm feeling. So, where am I feeling my fingers right now? Can anyone find it? Well, on my parietal lobe, here. So when I'm touching the board, that's being routed by the thalamus to here. Because the thalamus knows that's where fingers get felt, is there. When I'm trying to move my legs to walk, that's here. So each part of the brain, each lobe has a job, but each part of the lobe has a different body part it's responsible for. Make sense? So look at this side. Which part of your body has the most brain space to move? Which one requires the most brain to make it go? The face. Why do you think a face requires like half your brain capacity? Expression. What else do faces do besides make expressions? Communicate, speaking. It takes a lot of computer space to run a face. So a lot of your brain is devoted to moving the muscles of your face. All those muscles you learned in 231 that you forgot? Right, they're all here. Look at your hip. How much brain space does a hip take? Yeah, let's see, right about there. Okay. What does your hip do?
Moves your...
Go down, go up, I'm done. So because it doesn't have a lot of complexity, I don't have to have a lot of circuitry to run it. But a face has a lot of circuitry to control each muscle the right way to make a face, to make a speech. Make sense? Okay, so let's look at the parietal lobe side. Which part of your body takes the most brain space to feel it?
Your arms.
Hands take a lot. Face? Look at your lips, good God. Right? Why would your hands need a lot of brain space to feel? What are you doing? You're touching, like braille, right? Textures. You're constantly having to discern feeling. If you ever wonder why every stomach ache is the same, your brain gives almost no care to your intestines. Because why should I care if it's your stomach or intestine? They all feel the same, right? So your brain devotes different computation area to different parts of the body as this map goes, right? Okay, so let me make the next jump in logic. What would happen if I damage this part of my parietal lobe? I could not feel what? My hand. Could I feel my face? Sure. Can I move my hand? Sure, it's over here. So what do we call it at your work when people have brain damage and they can't feel or move parts of their body? Stroke. We're now going to spend some time learning stroke and brain damage using this map. So let me show you that. Let's talk about stroke. To do that, I'm going to show you